Hello everyone. So I'm going to talk about Jets and its polymorphic support ability. So what is polymorphic support in Jets? Okay, let's go to the docs and let's take a look. So down here you go click on polymorphic support, and here's the description of what polymorphic support is for Jets. So basically it's the ability to write your Lambda functions in another language aside from Ruby. You could write your functions in Python or Node with Jets also. So why in the world would anybody want to do this, right? There's actually use cases for this. I found that sometimes there are a lot of other Lambda functions written in officially supported languages like Python or Lambda, and it's beneficial to just actually take the code that's already kind of been written out there on a GitHub project and throw in your project, and then kind of move on with life, and you're kind of done. So that's what this. That's one of the reasons why Jets has polymorphic support. So I'll show you how this works. Let's look at the Python example. So here's the Python example. And you call basically, here's a controller, and here's how you're using or how you're declaring a Python method here. You go Python and then the symbol here, and it's just basically the action or the method name right there. And then you kind of follow this conventional folder pattern right here, where you create a POSIX folder in there. So this controller, this folder name matches with the controller name here, or the class name, and then the second folder is the language, and then you put your file in there, and that file corresponds to this method right here with the extension that's specific to the language, which is Python in this case, which is .py. Okay, so let's go ahead and go do this. Let's go and grab this and throw it into one of the demo projects we've been working on. Okay, so here's the demo project, and I'm just gonna go here and just delete all these methods and go Python index. All right, so Python index, and go here, and now we'll create a folder called post controller, and now we create another folder called Python, and now we have to create the action, which is index.py for Python, and then we can paste that in here and go ahead and put this in this side. So you can see the code now. You can see Python. That's how you declare a polymorphic Python method with Jets, and then you put the code in this file right here that shows up right there. And you also notice that since we're writing raw Python here with a raw Lambda method, we actually have to make sure that we respond back with the API gateway payload, which is this is the structure here. You need the status code, you need the body, you need the headers. So I'm just kind of doing that, and I'm gonna go ahead and change this too. So it should return back with a message that says hi from Python, okay, with actually the Python version here. How do you test this? All right, so let's test this locally first. So you could go start actually a server locally up. So I'm just going to start it and bind it to this port or this host because I'm running this in Cloud 9. So I'll go ahead, and I have this DNS record already set up, so it should hit Python method. So there it goes. There's the JSON response with Python post controller index hi from Python 2.7.15. So one caveat is you actually have to have Python running your machine. What Jets is doing is actually going out from Ruby, calling Python, and shoving back in Ruby. So it's like a reverse shim kind of. So that's what it's doing right there. So we got just the Python method kind of working there already. And then let's go ahead and take the node example. Let's look at the node example. So here's the node example. It's the same kind of structure here. You call node here instead of Python, and then the method name. Then you follow the same kind of folder structure here with the node folder this time. So go ahead, let's grab this code and let's just keep on going. So let's go ahead and throw this in another folder. So we need a node folder here. New folder, node. And this method is going to be called node. Let's just do show. Okay, and then we'll call this show.js because it's JavaScript now. And then we'll put this kind of down here so we cannot see it. So also notice again that this node Lambda function needs to return the API gateway structure there. So this should say hi from node. So let's go ahead and test this also locally. So let's go here, and then we'll just make up an ID here, 1. And that should hit, and that should say hi from node. There, hi from node 8.010 there. Okay, so again, you're gonna have node installed in order to test it locally. And we're gonna do kind of a couple additional things. We're going to clean up any Ruby code, so then we only have polymorphic methods, and I'll explain why I'm doing that in a bit. Let's clean that up. That was from a kind of earlier tutorial, so I'm deleting that Ruby code there. And these routes actually can lead to creating Ruby resources. So I'm going to delete all the routes, and then I'm going to kind of start with a fresh routes file. So in this routes file, I'm going to go, let's see, git posts. That should go to post index. Okay, so that takes care of the index one. And then post ID here, and that's going to go to show. So I could check routes by actually running this routes command. So Jets routes. So this is one-way check routes right there. So there are the two routes that we just created there. And we can also just make sure the app works locally before we deploy here to AWS Lambda. So there's the show working. Is the index working? The index is working too. Great. So now we can go ahead and deploy. So Jets deploy. And now I'll explain why I removed all the Ruby code. So there's only polymorphic methods in this Jets project now. So what Jets is going to do now is when it's building a project, it detects that there's no Ruby code there. And because of that, it does not actually package up the Ruby interpreter anymore. This is why the code size is so small now. It's only 256 kilobytes because it's only pretty much your application code at this point. And now it's going to deploy that to, or upload that to S3 and then go ahead and deploy the CloudFormation stack. So that's deploying right now. And so that's going to take a little bit of time. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video so you guys don't have to wait. Okay, so that finished deploying. That took a little time. And you notice that if you look at the output, it deleted a bunch of resources because we removed all those methods, removed all those routes and whatnot. So let's actually take a look at the Lambda console now, because I want to show you something kind of neat. Okay, so here we just have to refresh because that's a stale page, and then now we only have two methods here. I'm gonna go ahead and here you can see here's the show action has node. The index action has Python now because that's what we declared. We declared that in our code right here in post controller, Python here and node here. And so why don't we take a look at we'll take a look at that Python one right here. And this is kind of the cool thing I want to show you, because the code size is under 3 megabytes now. It can show up here in this Lambda console and you can actually edit inline. So that's pretty sweet. You can actually edit this whole thing inline and you can test everything now. So actually, why don't we just throw a test payload here real quick and create tests, the payload and test it. And then we should see a response right there. So you can actually edit inline and everything. So that's pretty sweet. And I know this might look a little weird. Let's go ahead and this is where the handler is. So you can actually see where the Jets generates the handlers for this. And so that's where the handler is. It kind of matches the controller structure there. But you can actually look at the Ruby code too, which is I know might be a little bit weird since it's not officially yet supported by AWS Lambda. But yeah, you actually have all your coding here. So that's pretty neat. And so that's basically what polymorphic support is all about. Check it out. I think that it was actually pretty fun to implement. And so that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful. If you enjoy videos like this, please give it a thumbs up and share with your friends to encourage more content like this. And if you want to watch future videos like this, subscribe to watch more videos in the future. Anyway, you guys have a good night. Cheers, guys. Cheers.